I'm kidding. I love this, but I just got to be honest. I love working with the field. I think this is like the funnest part of the job. It is important though. I'm glad you did, the one part in my bio is the sales background, and people always go, wait, sales, you're a doctor. It's like, well, I'm a doctor, but prior to that, I was in sales. I was a very top salesperson nationwide in the mortgage industry when it kind of went upside down in 2008, in which case I decided to change career paths, and it was the best thing I ever did because I'm able to really, truly search for the truth in healthcare. Sometimes I think that we focus too much on, well, what does that research say? What does this research say? And I always ask, well, who paid for the research? Let's get down to the basics. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate what we're trying to do. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to do what everybody's trying to do all over the world. Doesn't matter what country you're in, we all wake up, we all are trying to put food on the table for our families and protect our families, our kids, spouses, and not just protect them from physical danger, but protect them from these dangers that we're just, especially in this first world countries, constantly exposed to. And those dangers are just a very poor diet and poor food. So I'm going to share my slide here. I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint, and we'll just kind of go over a little bit. Let me move this back. And let's pull this up. We'll just kind of go through. If you guys have questions, save these questions for the end. I promise you we'll get to them. But let me do this. There we go. All right. I'm going to start this guy here. Wrong one. There we go. So back when I got into practice, I worked with a lot of autoimmune patients. And what I found was this. Even though I did very similar protocols for similar conditions, what I found was sometimes they would work very well, and sometimes maybe they didn't work as well, or it took longer, or I had to completely keep digging and figure out what was going on. And what I realized very quickly was it's not what I'm giving them. It's not the supplements. It's not the things that I'm giving them. What it is the terrain. And by the terrain, I mean us as humans. Why could I have two patients that have very similar labs, very similar symptoms, but yet they respond very differently to the same treatment? And what I realized was I was kind of missing the boat early on. Not just me, but a lot of doctors missed the boat, because then after I developed this in practice, I spent time with a company called Cellcore training doctors all over the country and world on this concept, which is before you try to do anything, before you try to treat any kind of health condition at all, we got to get back to the basics, which is basic foundational wellness, which means we have to ensure that our body has all the fuel that it's supposed to be getting on a daily basis. And so I'm going to come here. Sorry. So when we look at it, I look at two things here. They're the two big main things. The main thing we're trying to achieve is optimal organ function, because we know the human body is a self-healing organism when put in the right condition. And that right condition is our body is free of toxins that cause problems, and our body is also not nutrient deficient. So those are two big things that affect organ function. And we're going to really focus today on nutritional deficiency and how important that is. And so as we go through here, in order to obtain optimal organ function, we have to ensure we're getting all the essential vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and other coenzymes, cofactors that are absolutely necessary, not just for a good organ function, but for different physiological pathways. Like, for example, here's a simple example. As a thyroid, somebody who specializes in thyroid, one of the first things you have to also look at, and a lot of doctors don't look at this, but let's look at the pathway and what is needed in order to create thyroid hormone. Well, a simple thing in there is iodine. And for those that have heard of T3 and T4, the thyroid hormones, the 3 and the 4 tell you how many iodine molecules are attached to the hormone. And so let's just think you're extremely iodine deficient. Do you think that you could properly produce thyroid hormone? Well, that would be an obvious no. How can you create that hormone if you don't have the some essential things in order to create it. So that's a simple thing. That's just one little example, but there's lots of different physiological pathways that require different B vitamins and other nutrients and enzymes, extremely important. And so as we look at it, we go, well, why can't I just get that in my food? I eat very healthy, doc. And I've had people say, well, I eat very healthy. I eat all organic. And I'm like, that's great. But here's the problem. Even eating organic 100% does not 100% guarantee you're eating organic, unfortunately. Organic is still, although it is better, way to go for sure, but please don't mistake that with, oh, I'm eating organic, that means I'm getting everything I need. Well, they've gone into the different grocery stores that are well known for being organic and have pulled produce off the shelf and have tested it and have found traces of one of the things we're trying to avoid, which is glyphosate, one of the ingredients of Roundup that's sprayed on crops, right? So they found pesticides, they found other things in there. But even if we take the organic and out of the equation, this is something that was very interesting to me. This was about, gosh, I've shared this a few times now. I think it's been about a month since I was reading this article. And this guy went into, they wanted to check to see how nutritious is our produce. And I'm talking regular produce. I'm not necessarily talking anything specific. And so we know, like, for example, spinach, in this example, spinach has a decent amount of vitamin C in it. Well, a lot of our food, because the way we have grocery stores and things are sitting there for days, weeks, a lot of our produce is picked early. It's sprayed with stuff. It's grown in fields that are really devoid of minerals because we farm very different now than we did 100 years ago, which is we would switch fields, right? We plant corn this year on this field and then plant nothing on it next year and then plant something over here. And then the next year we plant. So they'd switch crops or they'd let the field rest, allow it to remineralize. Now with a lot of commercial farming, especially more so in the United States, we have these big commercial farms and they're planting corn on every field every year, all the time. And then on top of it, they're being sprayed with different pesticides, herbicides, and all of these things contribute to the soil becoming really devoid of vitamins and minerals. So they pulled this spinach off the shelf just in a random grocery store and they tested it for vitamin C. And this is the thing that really blew my mind away, which just adds even more credence to why it's important to supplement. When they pulled it off and they tested the spinach for vitamin C, it had 0% vitamin C in it. 0%, not 5%, not 10%, 0%. So that's just one example of one vegetable. And I'm not saying that would be, common in every vegetable, but I think it would be a pretty safe bet to say that if you were to pull all sorts of different fruits and vegetables off the grocery store shelves, produce section, and test them, that we would definitely see, if not devoid of vitamin and mineral, definitely a major decrease in those vitamins and minerals. So why is that so important? Well, here's an example of, let me lower this so I can see. Here we go. Here's an example of some of the big diseases that we're used to seeing here in the US. And as you can see, it is slowly getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And the one thing that it all comes down to, really, with a lot of these things, oops, I'm going to come back here, sorry. The one thing it comes down to, a lot of it is diet. I used to treat a lot of metabolic patients as well, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, those kind of patients. And the reality of it was, I love those patients. They're my favorite patients because those are the easiest patients on the planet to help resolve their metabolic issues. And 100% of them are related to diet and lifestyle. And so changing their diet, changing their lifestyle habits, increasing a little bit of exercise, 3, 4, 5 months, completely, their body is regulating the way it's supposed to. You're getting all the nutrition. So a lot of these diseases, especially the ones listed on this slide here, these are all diet-related diseases. And these are major, major problems here in the US. So with that being said, we clearly know that there's a major need for supplementation, at least bare minimum supplementation. And so how does doTERRA help to fill that need? Well, we rolled out a new product here at convention this year called VMG Plus. And that stands for vitamins, minerals, greens, plus a whole bunch of other good stuff. And we're going to kind of go through this. I'm just going to be candid. I'm going to really focus in and hone in on the differentiator about VMG Plus. Okay, so this is like a greens product. Obviously, has a lot of vitamins, minerals, and a lot of other really good things in here. But we're not the only company in the world that has a good greens product. There's other companies that have good products. So when you're talking to people about this product, we want to know, well, what's the differentiator? Well, why, if I look at these two and they look similar, well, why is yours better? Well, that's what I'm going to really focus on today. And in this, we have 5 big blends. We have a nutrition blend, obviously where a lot of our plant-derived vitamins come from, a cellular support blend that helps with, the antioxidants. We have our superfood blend, a biotransformation blend, and the key point, which I hope everybody takes away from today, is our bioavailability boosting blend. Now, this is the part that I love the most because this is a real, this is a way to really set you apart. It doesn't matter how good, how clean, how great of a vitamin you have. If you can't absorb it and utilize it, that's just going to be a really good vitamin that ends up in the toilet, right? So if we're spending the money for these supplements, we want to make sure that we're absorbing them and actually able to use them. And so the majority of vitamins on the market, when you look at them, the majority are water-soluble vitamins. And you have 2 main types of vitamins. You have water-soluble vitamins and you have liposomal or fat-soluble vitamins, right? And so they're basically, the big difference is this. The water-soluble vitamin at maximum is going to absorb 20 to 40% of that vitamin. So if you're looking at your RDA on the back of whatever thing that you're looking at, you have to understand only 20 at a maximum, if you're lucky, 40, but it's really more like 20 to 30% of that RDA will actually get absorbed. The rest of it excreted out. As opposed to liposomal technology, depending on the specific vitamin, you're looking at anywhere from like a 70 to 90% absorption rate, which is massively different, in a big difference there. So we're going to start here first, though. I'm going to start with the easy one. This product has, there's basically 5 main things that increase bioavailability for this product. One of them is the digestive enzymes and probiotics we have in this product. Now, this is not a replacement for like a Terrazyme. It doesn't have a ton of digestive enzymes to try to help those that have digestive issues, to help resolve some of those. It has specific digestive enzymes in this blend that help break this down and help make this specific product more bioavailable, as well as specific probiotic strands in here that also help to make this more bioavailable. We have whole food vitamins. So all but 2 of our vitamins come from the actual fruits and vegetables that you see in the blend. The 2 that do not come in it are B9 and B12, and those are methylated B vitamins. And so technically, I guess you could say, yeah, they come from they're not a whole food source because they don't come in a methylated form in a whole food source. Why that's important is for this. For those that are familiar with the genetic condition called MTHFR, that is a genetic mutation where people have a difficult time methylating, and methylation is extremely important for absorption of B9 and B12. It's also really important for your liver when it comes to detoxification. And so for those that have this condition, if you're just taking a regular B complex or a regular B vitamins, you're going to have a very difficult time methylating those B9 and B12 and using it. We included it in this one because we wanted to make this product really available and efficacious for a huge group of the population. The hard part is this. On average, more so in the Caucasian group, which is especially like here in the United States, but I would assume that stands true in other countries as well, up to 40% of the population have this genetic mutation. The crazy part about it is about 90% of that 40% do not know they have the genetic mutation. So they think they're taking vitamins, they think they're feeling good, they think they're doing good, but they're not really utilizing it. So this here allows for even those with MTHFR to be able to absorb and utilize the B vitamins that are in this product. Two other things that go with it. So we went through three. The other two are the essential oil blend that we have in here. And what we saw, which was pretty awesome, with liposomal technology specifically, it really helps the absorption of vitamins, right? Liposomal technology with minerals isn't really as necessary because minerals make it through the stomach pretty well and do pretty decent at absorption. But what we found is when we tested the VMG with the essential oils and the VMG Plus without the essential oils, we saw an increased absorption rate of the minerals in the product, which was pretty awesome. So now when we come over to the liposomal technology, we see by adding liposomes to this product, basically we're adding fat to this product, the little fat bubbles, we're increasing the absorption of the vitamins as well. And so most vitamins, and this is my space. This is one thing I really, especially in practice, this is a very important product. This is the baseline for my entire practice protocol in foundational wellness, is ensuring that you're getting a really good vitamin mineral type product that's very comprehensive, but also has very good absorbability. You may find one that has liposomal technology. You may find one that has liposomal and methylated Bs. You'll be very hard pressed to find that, and whole foods. Definitely digestive enzyme probiotic make it even harder to find. But even if by some chance you were able to find a vitamin, mineral, or nutrient that had 4 of the 5 of our bioavailability technologies, the one thing they'll never have is the essential oil blend. Even if they're using essential oils, as we all know, it's not the same as using a doTERRA wild orange, right? Or a doTERRA lemon, or, it's the purity plays a big role, not only absorption, but in its physiological efficacy as well. And so this is a huge difference right here. And we're going to go through, and I'm going to show you an example. Here's an example of iron. This is with and without the technology here. And as you can see, without it, it spiked a little bit and then just kind of leveled off. But with the technology, you can see how much more absorbed than without the technology. And then you can see how much of that stayed in the blood 8 hours later, which means not only do you have increased bioavailability, meaning increased absorption, but you also have increased bioretention, which means you've absorbed it and it's in the bloodstream. So when you take something like this, here's a perfect example. When anybody asks me, well, with LLV, I took it 2 times a day, or I took it a few times a day, whatever it is. Do I need to take this twice a day? It's like, well, depending on your needs, you can, but for the average person, do you need to take it twice a day? Well, no, because as you can see, if you take it first thing in the morning, a lot of the different components in here are still going to be readily available for your body to go grab and use at least 8 hours later. And so 2 big, huge things here: increase absorption, increase retention. And I would love to have anybody try to compete against that.